After record spending and tax increases over the last 2 years, Governor Walz's budget proposal includes a more than $400 million property tax increase. While the governor proposes $1.5 billion in human services cuts, that figure includes $460 million in cost shifts to our local counties. This is effectively a property tax increase that will be felt by Minnesotans across the state.
The total cost of the governor's shift is nearly $3.2 million annually for Clay County, and that cost is likely to grow as we're only including those 3 areas for discussion. To cover this, we would be forced to raise our property tax levy by approximately 6.95%. Let me repeat that. 7% approximately would necessitate a property tax increase. It's just unfeasible. This would be a significant burden on our residents, particularly those on the fixed incomes already.
For us, the citizens of Scott County, it would be an increase of approximately $934,000 in year 1. And that would balloon to over $4.5 million by 2029. Those are the things that we know about in these moments. So we're talking about a 5% hit to our property tax levy. I think yours was 6 something or other, 5, on top of all of the other things that we're already doing.
From a practical perspective, Carleton County cannot absorb much, if any, state-imposed cost shifts and still be expected to maintain the necessarily high standard of response that child welfare matters require. Our property tax-paying citizens are all but tapped out. And yet the state is alarmingly casual in its suggestion that counties absorb these costs by simply going back to the property tax well time and time again, no matter how dry it might be.
However, this proposed budget was brought forward without any conversations, without any discussions with the county at the table. Shifting costs to counties will directly impact property taxes and will affect the most vulnerable populations who are already struggling to pay basic needs such as housing, grocery, and health care.
This cost shift is an example of what's been talked about here, unfunded mandates by the state of Minnesota that counties simply cannot absorb.
These costs for taxpayers of Meeker County will cost per year over $860,000. You can do the multiplication, which will equate to an increase in the property tax levy of about 5% on top of normal increases. And
for Traverse County in 2025, the proposed shifts would be $395,000, and it would have been a 39.65% increase to our social services levy for Traverse County. For Western Prairie, which is Pope and Grant counties, for our 2026 budget, that alone with nothing else, no wages, nothing else, would be a 17.73% levy increase. For Pope, that would be $381,129.81, and for Grant, $238,290. And since we split our waivers between social services and public health, that would be an additional $90,000 for Pope County and an additional $72,000 for Grant County. So that's the kind of cost that we're looking at shifting to counties that have populations between under 10,000 for 2 of them and under 15,000 for the other one.
This for Anoka County will add a baseline, add 5% to our levy. You've heard a number of numbers thrown around, but 5% baseline, and that's on the known programs. That is not on the unknown that you, Nicole, just mentioned before. So counties cannot afford to sustain this. Individuals and businesses cannot afford to sustain this. So I'm here to tell you today that enough is enough. We're done. All right? We're done with the cost sharing. We need to come together to figure this out. We cannot continue to be handed your responsibility like a hot potato, expecting to provide services for an increasing population of individuals with a decreasing workforce. We can't do it anymore. Today,
in Ramsey County, this is a 5% cost shift, is projected to be $13 million annually, which is equivalent to a 4% tax levy increase. I'll say that again. $13 million annually, which is equivalent to a 4% tax levy increase. Here, this is a shift to counties and doesn't save money within the program. It's important to note here also that Ramsey County is unique. 1 in 3 residents is on safety net programs. We are also a county in which our residents' median income is less than the cost of living. The proposed cost shift to counties would have a devastating impact to our residents. We also have serious concerns regarding how this may impact access to services. If counties are not able to sufficiently levy to fund these programs, it may result in vulnerable individuals not receiving services they're assessed to need or creating a patchwork of access across Minnesota's 87 counties.
Within the residential services proposals, there's the new 5% county share for residential services under the disability waivers. In Hennepin County, this county share is projected to be about $20 million annually. This measure will have real impact. Shifting these costs means property tax increases. It's a tough conversation, as folks have said, with no simple solutions.
Just to highlight a few of the proposed cost shifts, one of them is the 5% cost shift for disability waiver services, which would cost Otter Tail County over $800,000. The Minnesota Sex Offender Program, shifting that to a 40% cost, will cost Otter Tail an additional almost $845,000. As far as the substance use disorder, changing that to a 27% cost shift and revenue decrease will cost the county $143,000. The total proposed cost shifts that I'm talking to you about here today is projected to be almost $1.8 million. This equates to over 3% of Otter Tail County's budget levy for 2025.
We've made a careful point not to, impugn the DHS staff sitting in the corner up there. They are merely the messengers.
Correct.
But I do not know who the architect of this is. And I wish they would come and tell us how this is supposed to work. I wish they would come and talk to the parents who are watching at home and the counties and the people, like, how is this supposed to work?